This is Becky Hammond-Stetter at the Crawford County Public Library today with Estel Eastridge, veteran of Korean War. Today is November 13th, 2002. Would you please tell me your full name?
Estel W. Eastridge.
And which branch of service were you in?
Army.
What years were you served?
From 49 to 52.
And what was your rank when you got out?
Sergeant.
Where did you serve at?
Well, we served about 2 years in Japan till the Korean War broke out, and then we was the first bunch to land in Korea when the Korean War started. We was right there close.
And how old were you on that day?
I was 19, 20, maybe, let's see. I went in when I was 18. Probably when the Korean War started, I was 20.
Did you see a lot of casualties in your unit?
Yes. Out of 185 in my company, H Company, after we'd been in Korea approximately, about 11 months, maybe 12. There was only 11 of us left, the original ones that went over there with us, out of 185.
So you lost a lot of close friends.
Yes, yes.
Were they all young like that?
Yes, yes. We was all about the same age. They might have been 2 or 3, just slightly older than that, but not hardly any.
Did you go in with any other people from right around this area?
No. There was some from here that was in the Korean War, but it was in different outfits, you know.
Were you drafted or did you enlist?
I enlisted.
Why did you choose the Army?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know.
Do you think boot camp was different then than it would be now?
Yes. Yeah, the Army is different altogether than it was in 49 and 50.
Did you think boot camp was hard?
It was hard.
Tell me about that.
Well, you had strict rules, and you did go by them. And you had rough training, and it was just more, it was tougher then than it is now. Now, if you want out, you just tell them you want out and you get out. That wasn't the case back then. You was there and that was it.
Did everyone make it through boot camp with you?
Yes, as far as I know, as far as I remember.
And tell me about the day you landed in Korea.
That was in June 1950. We landed, we were stationed in the southern part of Japan. The war started one day and we landed the next. We started off the same day the war started. They loaded us on LSDs. We went across the Yellow Sea and we landed in Busan. That's the most southern tip of Korea, South Korea. we landed in Tucson. I don't remember. It was daylight hours, late in the afternoon when we landed. And the most thing that I remember about that, the LST that I was on, they couldn't get it turned into the bank right. There's some rock, big rock. And so we had to unload in about 40 foot of water. With sharks all around.
Did everybody make it to shore?
Yes. They gave us a tube of stuff to bust when we hit the water to keep the sharks off of you. The Yellow Sea is full of sharks. And that's what I remember about our landing more than anything else.
I guess so. Was the water cold?
Well, you had your mind on so much other, you don't know whether it was cold or not.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. And we made a landing there. And we hit no resistance right when we made our landing. But we moved inland about, probably, I'd say 3 or 4 miles. And then we hit resistance. So it was from then on, it was rough.
And how many did you lose in that first day?
Well, there were several. I couldn't tell you the exact figure. So, a lot of guys get wounded and then they go back and then they're back in a few days. So, but a lot of them was killed, But I don't remember any figures on it.
And what's some of the medals you've received for that?
Well, let's see, there's a combat infantry badge, a Korean service medal, then an occupation of Japan, and then the one that South Korean president gave us. And this one here, I don't know which one that is. I used to know all that, but I don't anymore.
Were you ever wounded?
Yes, I was hit in the hand and in the foot. But the worst thing I had over there was, I didn't have it over there, but it hit me after we got back. It was malaria. Like died with that.
Did a lot of the others have it too?
Yes, there's several had it. Well, so there the mosquitoes eat you up, Hard to get out of there without having it.
Did you have enough food?
Now we had sea rations. You got by on it, It wasn't the best in the world, but you could live on it.
Did you have enough supplies? Did you have warm socks?
Well, you didn't have any more than you needed. You just had to get by on what you had, because I was over there a year, in Korea a year, in Japan 2 years, but in Korea a year. And you never seen a bed. You slept on the ground. And Most of the time you slept with your shoes on. Because you couldn't afford to. You got attacked, you couldn't afford to leave. So you slept with them on.
I read that it got to be like 30 below over there. Did you go through that?
We was sleeping on the ground up close to the Manchurian border there one time. And it was 40 below zero. Sleeping on the ground.
And how did you get through that? Staying close together?
We had sleeping bags, which was pretty good, but you could only lay down, you couldn't lay down much over 30 or 40 minutes till you had to get up. You'd start getting stiff, you had to get up and jump up and down inside your sleeping bag. And there wasn't much sleeping when I went that way.
How hot did it get when the hot season?
Well, it was pretty hot in the summer. I spent a summer and a winter there. It was hot in the summer.
What was your job?
Well, I was, my platoon was an 81 millimeter mortar. And I was first gunner on an 81 millimeter mortar. At the time, a mortar shell cost $18.75, and we'd fire a lot of times during the night, maybe 2,000 shells, maybe 3,000.
Where were you at when they told you the war was over?
Well, I was in the first ones to rotate out but the war had practically ended, but it wasn't quite over with yet. So I got rotated out. After you spend a year, 11 to 12 months while they rotated you out.
Did you get to go on any leave when you were in the service?
Not in Korea, you didn't. No. In Japan, you did, but there wasn't nowhere to go, so you was too far away from home to come home.
Were you able to write home and keep in touch?
Yes, we could write. Now in Korea, you didn't write much because you didn't have any paper and stuff like that, stamps. But you could write occasionally.
Did you get letters from home?
Yes.
How long did that take?
Sometimes they didn't get there very fast. It wasn't maybe 2 or 3 weeks, a month, by the time they'd get out where we was at,
Were you in Korea for Christmas?
Yes.
What did you boys do then?
You done the same thing you done every day. Tried to keep yourself alive,
You didn't know it was Christmas Day?
Yeah, you didn't. No, we didn't even have a special dinner. You were just there, trying to survive.
So you didn't get any entertainers over there?
No, not that time, no. That was in the midst of the Korean War. Wasn't no such thing as that.
When you got home, did you keep in touch with your other soldiers?
Well, I did for a while. And then a couple of them that I did, they died, passed away, and so I never did no more.
Did you go to work or did you go back to school when you got out?
Well, when I got out, I went to work.
Did your job in the service help you in the job as a civilian?
Well, it learns you, you learn a lot of discipline in the Army. And I think that does help you during life. I always thought it did.
Did you join a veterans organization?
Yeah, I belong to the VFW. I'm a life member. And I also belong to the American Legion.
And what is your career after the war?
Well, I guess you'd call it politics. I was sheriff 5 times.
Do you think the military influenced you to become that?
Well, it probably did. I can't say that it did for sure, but I'd say it probably maybe had a little something to do with it.
What advice would you like to give young people serving today?
Well, I think it's good for anybody. I don't think it hurts anybody to serve. You gain a lot of experience through there that I think it stays with you the rest of your life, you know.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell me about the time just in Korea?
Well, I can't think of anything other than it was a rough deal to start with.
Where did you go right after Korea, or were you done then?
Well, when we came back, I was stationed at Camp Breckenridge. Really wasn't stationed there, but that's where I was discharged. Camp Breckenridge, Kentucky. That's where I was in the hospital with malaria. The malaria didn't hit me till I got back over here. It don't hit you ordinarily till you change climates.
And did you do all your traveling on the ground or flying or?
Well, we most of ours was on. You mean to get in there?
Yes.
Most of ours was on boat ships. Of course, then from Japan to Korea, it was on LSTs.
And how did they send you home?
Same way, water. Back then, that's the way most of it was done. Now, a lot of it is flying. But back then, it was by ship.
So how many days did it take you to get from your base to Korea?
Oh, it took one night and part of the next day. It's not that far across there. Now, when you go overseas, it took us about 13 or 14 days to get from San Francisco to Japan. I think it's about 13 days.
Did you get tired of being on the boat?
Yes, you do. A lot of them got seasick. I was fortunate that I didn't. Well, I was seasick for about, probably 2 hours. And then left, and I was all right. Some of them was seasick just about all the way over there.
Did your men get tired of each other, or did you get along?
Well, it's a big ship. You got along good, you know. There wasn't no problems. I forget how many was on the ship that I went over there on. The ship was named General D.E. Alton. There was several thousand on there. It was a big ship. You know. Seemed to me like 7,000 or 8,000 on that ship.
Could you tell if they were afraid, or did everyone act brave?
Well, you act brave whether you are or not. But it wasn't bad on the ship going over there to Japan.
Did they do anything special for good luck?
Not really, not really. I know we had an old sergeant when we went from Japan to Korea on this LST. I'll never forget that. See, we were just a bunch of young kids, you know. This old sergeant, he'd probably already went through 2 wars, so he knew about it. And we thought we was going over on a picnic, you know, just a camping trip or something. I'll never forget, in that LST there was a box that set up in the corner, and he got up on that box and got everybody's attention. They just run you in there like cattle, you know, on LST. And he said, now you fellas have all the fun you want to have right now, but we'll be landing in about 2 hours, and half of you will be dead. So we got, you know, paying a little more attention now. It's an experience you wouldn't want to go through twice, but you know, it's good that you got the experience.
Did they pull any pranks or jokes in Korea, or were they all too busy?
Yeah, you had to try to live, you know.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that we haven't covered?
Well, not really, I don't guess.
Well, thank you, Pete. It's been very interesting, and I'm very happy that you shared this with us.
Well, I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. We thank you. I don't need them.